Picture this. You check your crypto portfolio, and your life savings are just vanishing right before your eyes. And you trace it all back to a single text message you got earlier. This isn't some movie plot. It's a real-life, high-stakes financial crime. Let's get into it. We're talking about more than 119,000 euros. That's how much a private investor lost. All of it tricked out of their account by one scammer. It's just a brutal reminder of how much damage these attacks can do. And it all started so simply.
So, the weapon of choice here? A phishing SMS. It's one of those fake texts. This one looked totally legit, like it was from a real crypto exchange. It convinced the investor to move their money into what they thought was a new, secure wallet. But in reality, it was a wallet controlled by the thief.
And the second those funds hit the scammer's wallet, the game was on. The thief started moving them, laundering them, trying to make that digital trail disappear for good. For the victim, a desperate race against time had just begun. Now, let's be real, getting stolen crypto back is incredibly hard. The investigators on this case were up against some massive hurdles, all while that clock was just ticking away. The whole thing was just a tangled mess. We're not talking about one simple transaction. The stolen funds were spread out across a bunch of different crypto assets. The thief was using these really clever laundering tricks, and the money was already being funneled into major exchanges. That window of opportunity to do something, it was closing, fast. Get this, they had to trace 6 different kinds of crypto assets. We're talking Bitcoin, Solana, Cardano, the works. Each one moves on a different network, which, as you can imagine, just adds more and more layers of complexity to the chase. And the endpoint for all this laundered money? At least 3 major exchanges. Now, once funds get into systems that big, they can be swapped and moved in an instant, making that trail almost impossible to follow. So for the victim, it all came down to one thing they desperately needed: an official, police-ready report. And they needed it yesterday. This wasn't just about finding out where the money went. It was about getting hard, actionable evidence to law enforcement and the exchanges to freeze those assets before they were gone. And this is where the digital detectives from Chain Labs come into the picture. It was their job to jump in, follow the money, and untangle this whole web, all while being under some serious pressure. Okay, so how'd they do it? Their process was incredibly methodical. First, they traced every single transaction across all the different assets. Then, they pinpointed the exact moments the scammer used things like instant swap services to try and hide the trail. From there, they built a complete profile of the thief's wallet activity. And finally, they bundled it all up into one comprehensive package for the authorities. And this quote right here really nails what made the difference. See, it's one thing to have the fancy tech to trace crypto. It's a whole other thing to have the real-world experience to know exactly what the police and exchanges need to actually act on that information. That combination was absolutely the key. So with everything on the line, how did it all turn out? Well, what happened next was nothing short of a breakthrough, and it was delivered at an unbelievable speed. The team produced a complete, fully documented report. It had this crystal clear forensic map that showed exactly where the stolen money went, every single step of the way. It was the silver bullet the victim needed. But you want to know the most impressive part? They delivered that entire report in just 24 hours. 24 hours! From that first desperate call for help to handing over a complete law enforcement package. In the world of crypto recovery, that kind of speed is an absolute game changer. So what did that 24-hour report actually accomplish? Well, it gave the victim the power to go straight to the exchanges and demand a freeze on those stolen funds. It preserved the entire evidence trail for any future legal action. And, most importantly, it seriously increased the odds that they'd actually get some of their money back. So what's the big lesson we can pull from all this? This case study isn't just about one theft, right? It's a perfect example of why speed and precision are completely non-negotiable when you're fighting digital financial crime. Let's just put it in perspective. Without a rapid response like this, the trail goes cold. The money's gone, forever. The victim is just left documenting a loss. But with a rapid response, the evidence is preserved, the chance of recovery shoots way up, and suddenly the victim has a real strategy to actually fight back. And that really leaves us with a huge question to think about. In a world where fortunes can be stolen and moved around the globe in the blink of an eye, this case shows us that justice just can't afford to be slow. It has to be just as fast, just as precise and just as smart as the criminals it's trying to catch.